Welcome back to the Sports Booth YouTube channel. Another exciting video to do today. We are me and Hughesy, joined by Hughesy, obviously. Say hello, Hughesy.
Hello, hello.
We're doing another exciting video. Obviously, the Super Rugby regular season's wrapped up. We're going into finals, but what we thought we'd do is a bit of a fantasy draft, kind of like what we did with the Wallabies and the All Blacks, but with all the Super Rugby teams. So to make it fair and to make sure that we're not just picking certain players from certain teams, it's a max of 2 players per team. One team will only have 1 player selected, but there's also a coach. So there's 24 selections overall, obviously 12 teams, numbers add up. 2 times 12 makes 24. How great, maths, quick math. So obviously it's going to go in order. You can pick at any position. We're not too strict on the rules of a position. So if you wanted 3 number 7s in your team as all your loosies, you could do that. Props, doesn't matter if they're a loosie or a tighty, they're going to be able to play both in this fantasy world that we're living in today. And same with wingers, fullbacks. You can play anyone pretty much in any position you want if you think it's going to help your team. So with that, again, just taking an example, you have to have 2 players from Fiji and Dura, 2 players from Moana Pacifica. Can't just be all Crusaders and Blues, as they are the 2 best teams. Hughesy is going to start us off because his Waratahs finished below my Hurricanes, although it didn't matter when it came to quarters times because they both got beaten. But he will start us off. Again, any position, any player. Hughesy, you're on the clock. Who is going to be your first pick with the Super Rugby Fantasy Draft?
I think this will be sort of not a surprise to anyone. This team finished on top of the ladder. They've won their first quarterfinal game and won quite comfortably. And look, there's one player in this team. He's from a trio of brothers. I don't think anyone would be shocked that I'm picking Beauden Barrett here first.
Beauden Barrett, the first pick. Well done, Hughesy. That was a good pick. And probably exactly. I
don't think anyone would. Yeah, I don't think anyone is going to be too surprised about that.
Pick. No, 100% not. That's probably the easiest decision you could have made. So I'm on the clock now with my first pick. I think there's a lot of thinking that goes into this because obviously some teams have a wealth of talent. So now that's one of Bluesy's Hughesy's picks already gone with the Blues. So he can only give one more Blues player. So it's like, where do you want that talent? I'm doing a similar thing. Team finished second, and I think by far and away their best player won, again, their quarterfinal. I'm going into Crusaders, and I'm going with Will Jordan at 15 as my fullback. I think fullback of the year, looking like World Player of the Year. As I said earlier in my predictions, he started off the season as one of those top players in the world. So I've gone with Will Jordan from the Christchurch Crusaders, Canterbury Crusaders, as my first pick.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with a player who didn't play in the quarterfinals, but I think over the course of the season was definitely this squad's best player, and I think might wind up being one of Australia's best players. And I'm going to go with Izzy Parisi at 13. I think he has a big playability that is comparable to some of the best New Zealand players, where he can bring something out of nothing. And look, I've got to grab someone from the Waratahs. They've got talent there, but look, I think the Izzy Parisi from the Waratahs, I just can't go past him.
With my second pick, I am going to go with Vinyana Habosi from the Fiji Endura, number 11. Absolute game breaker. Has had probably the best season for them. Constantly scores length of the field tries. I think I want a Fiji Endura player early, and I've gone with him as number 11 as a game-breaking winger. Just that Fijian talent to get in the team.
All right. You're sort of reading my mind here, because I was going for my next pick is going to be from Moana Pacifica, actually, because I know we've got to dip into those guys occasionally, and we've got to take at least 2 picks from these teams. So I've got to sort of look and see who really stood out for me, and you've got to look obviously at sort of their game of the year, which was the win over the Brumbies, right? And so for me, I'm going to go with one of their props, actually. I'm going to go with Joe APIKOTOA in there. Try score a big boy. Massive. And I think he'd be very serviceable in the front row.
He's a unit, and I don't know, I was going to say I've been lucky enough. I've probably been unlucky enough to actually have to play against him in club rugby back at home. And, yeah, he's a beast. So, again, when they lost Kepu, it kind of seemed like it was all over for them. As he's been kind of warrior leader all season, and Joe stepped up massively. So good pick, good dip in there. They're big in the tight five, so that's a big scary forward to get straight away. So that's a good pick from you, Hughesy. Yeah, I'm looking around, and again, I know I have to dip in, but I think there's, if I'm going Moana Pacifica, I have to take another winger, and it's the tackle breaking machine, and I'm gonna absolutely butcher his last name, but I'm gonna try my best. It's Tomoki Tavatavanawai. I'm going to try that, say that's it. Number 14, I think he's had like 60-odd tackle breaks. He's about 15 ahead of anyone else in the tackle break stats. So I've got a couple of Fijian wingers for my wings and absolute tackle breakers, game breakers, I feel, to go there. So there's my first Moana Pacifica pick.
Very nice. Well, I'm going to round out my Blues picks here. I'm going to take Caleb Clarke as one of my wingers. Look, beast of a player, and in that way as well, I don't need to worry about the Blues now. I've got two great players from that squad, and you're welcome to the rest of them.
Yes. Okay. That's an interesting one. I'm looking at the teams, looking at the picks. There's a lot of talent still left on the board. I think I'm gonna. I know you've done your Blues picks, so I can kind of save some of the Blues till later. But what I do want is I want to get ahead of your Waratahs pick, and I'm going to take number 1, Angus Bell. I think he's probably been.
I thought you might do that.
Up with one of the best props of the season, if not, for definitely the Australian sides, if not both sides in the whole comp. So I feel like taking him early and getting a prop to match your Joe prop is key. So I've taken Angus Bell.
Fair enough. Well, I'm surprised this player hasn't come off the board earlier, especially considering who I'm drafting against. But now that I'm done with the Blues, I'm casting my eyes across the rest of the New Zealand teams, and there's one player that has willed his team to victory several times and nearly did it last night, but couldn't quite get it done, and that's Ardie Savea. I'm taking him, number 8, mainly just to rub it in your face that you haven't picked him.
Hey, there's plenty of good number 8s in the comp, and I'll take mine when in due course, mate. Don't you worry. I'm looking around, and again, I know what I want to do, and I know I've got a bit of a plan, and I think actually a really hard team to pick from is going to be the Highlanders. And the reason that it's going to be hard to pick them is just, I guess there's talent there, but they were inconsistent, and you don't know who to pick. So I'm actually going to take a reserve prop before I take a starting prop, and I'm going to take number 17, Ethan de Groot, because I have my number 3 spot secured in my head, but I don't need to make that pick now. So I'm going to put Ethan de Groot, who was mammoth for the Highlanders against the Blues at holding up the scrum time, and it was his show. So I'm going to take him at 17.
Very nice, very nice. All right, well, another team that is sort of hard to pick from is the Melbourne Rebels. But there is a player who I feel like he performs better probably on the international stage and maybe at the Super Rugby stage. So I figured that might just be the circumstances of his team. So I feel like with some more talent around him and getting him the ball, he will thrive in this sort of fantasy kind of stage. So I'm going to take Andrew Kellaway as my other wing.
I was like, who are you going for here? Is it Matt Tamura? Like, no, that's it. No. I actually think, for the, like you said, the talent, not so much the talent around him, but the instability and the unpredictability he's had around him. He's had a good season. Yeah. What I am going to dip into is a Western Force side, so another team who missed out on. I feel like you need to get some of those players out. And so there's 2 lock/6 player that have stood out for me for the Western Force, and it's Isaac Rodder and Fergus Lee Warner. And I'm going to take as a first lock, so at number 5, Fergus Lee Warner as mine. He's rugged. They're both pretty rugged, and there's a bit of it like, bit of a dick type players you've got to get into your team. And I like what I've seen from Fergus Warner. He's constantly made my team of the weeks for week on week in a struggling force side. So I've gone with a bit of him.
Well, I was worried that you were going to take my pick because my next pick's Isaac Rodder, so I was looking exactly the same place as you. So I'll take that other lock from the Western Force and get one of the Western Force struck off.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That is a good pick. Okay, I am finishing my Crusaders prospects because I think there's only real 2 first fives possibly in this competition, and I don't want you to slide one under me and pick Richie Mo'unga on the bench. So I'm going to go Richie Mo'unga into 10. Get my Crusaders done. I've done the opposite to you. I've gone with the red and black while you've gone with the blue army. I'll take my Crusaders and say, yep, him and with Jordan will team up well, and that'll be my first 5.
I was thinking about doing that, to be honest. Yep. I was thinking about doing that. When I picked Artie, I was thinking about taking Richie there, and then I was like, okay, get him next. And then you were like, then we started dipping into the lower teams. Like, there's a run on talent here. I've got to get someone while they still got some players there. Alrighty, well, that leaves the Crusade. I could leave the Crusaders to last now, which is great. Same as you can leave the Blues to last. So that's fantastic. Okay. That's okay. I understand that. That's all right. That's all right. There. Okay, so let's go. Let's look. It's just
it's the Rain Man coming on. You know the numbers are working out. Okay. It's ticking over.
Yeah. Well, look, I've got one lock, and there's a team that neither of us have touched so far, and I think this team has sort of flown under the radar this year. Because of the dominance of the top 2 New Zealand teams. But I am going to take BRODIE RETALLIK from the Chiefs.
The Chiefs. As soon as you started talking about flying under the radar, I was like, I know who you're talking about now. Good pick. I've got 2 picks. I know what my next 2 picks are. I've just got to manage them well. I'm going to pick another reserve prop. So my number 18 is going to be APIKOTOA from the Brumbies. Another team that we haven't picked from yet, but I feel like, again, last night I was like, shit, he puts in a shift. Like, that's...
Yeah.
He's still like late 20s, I believe. And again, I may be wrong. Just fact check that. But yeah, he's just a beast.
No, I don't know, man. This is tough. This is really tough. The fact that you can only pick 2 from every team, and there are some teams you just like, well, I could pick any of these players and it'll be fine. And there are other teams you just like, I don't want to pick any of these players. Alrighty, and look, all of these players could eat me for breakfast, so there's no slander there. It's just in comparison to their colleagues, So, all right, alrighty. All right, I think I am going to wrap up my Moana Pacifica picks, and I am going to take a sort of utility back for Moana Pacifica. He's played fullback, but he's also played 5'8". I believe 5'8" is his preferred position, but he's put in a good shift at fullback. He's going to be on the bench for me. It's going to be William Havili.
Yes. Very good. He played very good fullback this season.
Yes, so I feel like he gives my squad some versatility in the back line if someone gets injured or something like that. But he could slot into any position there. So I'm going to take Havili.
Yes, very good pick. I already know my pick, and it's not hard. It's my last Highlanders player, but it's going to be my reserve halfback, number 21, Folau Fakatava. He has been a bit of a sensation off the bench is the crazy thing. Like, the way he's come off the bench and made an impact coming on for Aaron Smith has been incredible. So I will take Fakatava as my reserve halfback. With that goes by Aaron Smith, which was a tough call. Like, I was deciding, do I want Aaron Smith as my starting halfback or Fakatava? But I just think what Fakatava's been doing off the bench has been massive. And that side fills up my Highlanders players. So that first bottom tier New Zealand side.
I'm looking at the Dura and rounding up my picks there, like Moana Pacifica, wrapping it up. Okay, I'm going to take a reserve lock/flanker in JOSEVA TAMANI. I believe that's how I pronounce his name. And look, I haven't got my starting flankers yet, but again, positional versatility. I've got to take someone from the Dura, so I'm going to take JOSEVA.
100%. That's a good pick. He's been big off the bench for them, and even in a couple of games starting. Long levers, that man. Okay, now I'm back into a bit of a tough situation looking at teams and stuff. I think I'm going to do down a similar route to you, a team that's been overlooked, and go to a locking player in that team. The Chiefs, I'm going to go with Tupovai, the number 5 for the Chiefs, who's, again, when he's on a tandem with RETALLICK, 2 of the best locks in the country at the moment. So I am going to take him as my number 5 and my first Chiefs player.
Okay. All right. I'm just putting that into our expert record keeping system, aka an Excel spreadsheet. Alrighty. So another team that we haven't really looked at too much this in this recent in our drafts, I should say, in this draft, and a team that I think most people would agree has sort of underperformed this year, and that's the Queensland Reds. But they've got a wealth of talent there, and there's one player that I'm just looking at and I'm like, I can't believe we haven't picked him yet, and that's Taniela Tupou. So I'm going to pick him in my front row. So I've got a big boy front row right there, and I'm looking at that, and just need a good hooker, and I think I'll be set there. But yeah, Taniela Tupou from the Reds, under an injury cloud for the last couple of weeks, but yeah, got to get Tupou in there.
I've got one, I believe, minor Pacific player. I'm going to get my second one. It's going to be a bench player. It is going to be number 22, I think, for me. It's going to be a backup first 5 and Christian Lealiafano to back up there, tick off all of those numbers, get that minor Pacific talent in there. And that kind of allows me to move on to the next stage of the team.
I did think about Christian as one of my picks, but I felt like I would be better able to get some other talent elsewhere. But yeah, big respect for him, especially with everything he's been through and to be able to come back. So yeah, good solid pick as well. Not really anything wrong with Christian Lealiafano, who's a very solid, reliable player.
Definitely.
Okay. Alrighty. Now, where do I go from here? Okay, no, I know where that one's going. Alrighty, so I am looking now at my my positions I've still got on the board, and what I need, and I'm noticing I need a halfback. I notice you need a halfback as well. Now we've both sort of shortchanged ourselves on 2 of the best teams in the Blues and the Crusaders, respectively. But I think there's talent all around the league at halfback as well. Now, so that's making it difficult for me to decide exactly where I want to go with this. To be quite honest, who do I want to take as my halfback? And you know, I honestly am stuck about who I want to go with for my halfback. But I think I need to go and round out my red selections and take Tate McDermott here for my halfback. Yeah, I think I need to. I just looking around. I just think,
on you picking Aaron Smith.
Huh?
I was banking on you picking Aaron Smith, and then I would leave Tate for me. Damn. Alrighty. Well,
yeah.
That's shaking it up a little bit, but it's all right. It wasn't the direction I was going to head in. I decided I needed to pick this player because you obviously need 2 Hurricanes. And there was a massive shift in the game last night when one player specifically came off the field due to an injury, and that was Jordie Barrett. So I'm taking Jordie Barrett as my number 12. Moving into that position, I think he's been very good this year. He came off the pitch due to an injury, and instantly the Hurricanes decided to fall apart. So massive player to miss, but he is my first Hurricane selected. It's only taken me to about round 24 to make the pick, but I've got a Hurricane.
Alrighty. Okay. I know where I want to go with the Hurricanes after this, so that's fine. Highlanders I haven't really touched. Much like you, it's a hard team to sort of pick from. Well, actually, it's not that hard. Sorry, I'm going to pick Aaron Smith as my backup backup half.
Yes, very well done.
Yeah,
I knew
my
that was
number
coming.
23.
Had to be done.
Yeah.
I've got, I think, a pretty easy pick, 19. I need a reserve lock. I need someone from the Melbourne Rebels, and there's a decent player for the Rebels who just can't quite make that step up to the Wallabies, in my opinion. Matt Phillip, I'm going to take him. As much as it pains me, he is one of the better players for the Melbourne Rebels, which is why he has to end up on my team today.
Yeah.
So, 19, Matt Phillip is my first Rebels selection.
I think he's the hardest working player on the Rebels. I think he doesn't give up in a game. He might make mistakes, but he's got the effort levels that you want out of a player. So, look, it's just unfortunate that it can't always convert to on the field success. But I think, again, like Killoy, like you put these other great players around him, it'll help step up his game.
Definitely, 100%.
So is that your first Rebel?
That is my first Rebel.
Okay.
I think I've got a Rebel, I've got a Force, and I've got a Fiji Enduro. So I need one of each of those as well to wrap up the bottom four.
I think I might. I think I'm going to take Ethan de Groot.
Starting prop, and I'm going to take number 17, Ethan de Groot.
Say, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
I already took him.
Did you take him?
Yeah, number 17.
Oh, you did take him. You did take him. Yeah. I was looking for him on your team. That's right, because I was like, you don't have a 3 there, though. I'm like, that's right, you picked him as your backup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
not letting you have that talent.
No. Okay. All right. No, that's throwing a wrench in my plans then. Oh, that's annoying that you picked him as a backup, not as a starter, because now I was like, you've only picked one prop. Okay.
No, I've got 3 of my 4 props ticked off, mate.
Yeah, it's just not your other starter.
No.
Alrighty.
Save that.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. I am going to take my other backup prop and round out my front row selection with this player from the Force. And I am going with Greg Holmes. And that way it rounds out my Force picks and sort of picking what I can out of that.
Nice. All right. Well, I was going to take a Force player, but now that you've done it, I don't really have to worry too much. So I'll head over. You haven't done both your Duda players or your Melbourne Rebels players. So
I have done both my Dura players.
I
don't have both my Rebels players though. Look, Havili and
Havili's
Joe.
Minor Pacifica.
No, he's Minor Pacifica. Who have I got? I've got 2 of them in here. Tamani and where am I?
You've got one, mate.
Have I not got both my 2?
No, you've got.
Have I got one?
Yeah, Tamani's your only one.
Far out. Why have I closed my tab then? All right.
When look at you, you're moving too far ahead. You're trying to pick my players and you're closing your tabs. You're all
I know.
over
I'm
the
going.
shop.
I am. Yeah. My mind is like 5 steps ahead of where we are in reality.
So I'm going to take my Rebels player.
I think I do.
And it's going to be my number 6. So I'm going into my starting flankers, and it's Brad Wilkin, the ginger. Number 6. He's fantastic over the ball, and I need a flanker, and I think that's the best position to put a Melbourne Rebels player in. So I've gone Brad Wilkin, number 6.
Okay. All right. Look, I've got to go back to the Dura then, because I thought I'd picked both of mine, but maybe I just
go back to the drawing board, mate.
Yeah. Yep. Alrighty. I'm not sure why I thought I'd done that, but here we are. All right. Okay. Your Jordie Barrett pick is really messing me up because I was hoping to take Barrett. Honestly, we did this last time. I thought I was going to collect all the Barretts, and then you took Bowden, and I had Jordie. Now this time I've got Bowden, you've got Jordie. So that is sort of messing me up. But I think I know where I want to go with the Hurricanes anyway, and I might. I'm going to pick my first Brumbies player, and I'm going to take Folau Fainga at hooker.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I need a Brumbies player, and I need some breathing room, and I need someone who I know will do a good job. And so I'm going to take Fainga.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is starting to shape up now, I think.
All right. I am looking. I'm going to take in my last bench, second to last bench forward position, number 20, my loose forward, Meli Diranalagi from the Duda. He's a beast. Nothing much more to say. Captain the side on a couple of squads. Big number 7, good at turnover. It was between him and one of the other ones, Lucy's, who was unreal at over the ball, but I just think he's a better all-round player. So I think it's Meli Diranalagi in number 20.
Yep. I am going to take my last Dura player here now and actually do it this time.
Yep.
And I'm going to take. I've just taken a hooker. I'm going to take a backup hooker.
Yep.
I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Tavita Ikanavere.
Yes.
Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but Dura starting hooker.
Yeah.
And yes, for some depth, rounding out my Dura selections.
Nice, good
is
pick.
really the thinking behind that. Yeah.
Dura selection's done. I'm in a lot of thought process at the moment, but I have been thinking, and I think this is the best option to go with. So I'm actually going to take my coach now and get that out of the way, because I need to do it. And I think I can't take, as much as I would like to take like a Leon McDonald, I think there's too much talent from the Blues to not select 2 Blues players. So it comes down to 2 coaches for me. Now, I've got Angus Bell as one Waratah, so I could take Darren Coleman. Or I've got one Brumbies, and I could take Dan McKellar. And so I've kind of come down to that 2 decision. And I think when I look at my squad currently and look at the Brumbies team, I think the players that I've got left situated makes it better for me to select Waratah players. So I'm going to take Dan McKellar as my coach for my squad, the Brumbies coach, who's just put his team into the semi-finals. So that will be my coach of the squad.
Well, I will pick this coach eventually, but I'm not going to do it now, obviously. Yep. But I was never going to draft Angus Bell. My plan was to get Parisi and Coleman. So I'm glad you've left Coleman.
I did think so, but I just think there's too much talent in the War. Like when I look at the Waratahs compared, I'm like, I feel like, yeah.
So is that's your Brumbies selections out
Brumbies
now then
done.
As well? Okay,
Brumbies done.
Okay, great. So, and I know that you're not going to pick the selection I want from the Waratahs either, which is good. Okay, so I am going to take then. I think I know who I'm going to take here. I'm going to close out my Hurricane selections with the nicest guy in rugby, James Blackwell.
What a pick! Oh, you couldn't find a nicer guy.
Couldn't find a nicer guy in all of rugby, and you need a little bit of nice guy to contrast with the pieces of shit on your team. So.
I'm gonna go at number 8, big Reg boy Harry Wilson. Number 8 have to be. Yeah, I haven't really got much else of a choice, but that's my first Reds player, so I'll tick that off.
Okay, all right. I've got to pick a Highlanders player, and I've got a reserve prop spot left. So I am going to take. I couldn't get to Groot. I tried to steal him from you. Couldn't get him. I'm going to take his partner in crime as my reserve prop, Jermaine Ainsley.
Been very good this season. Actually, I think he's represented the Wallabies before. And he's New Zealand born, but I think he has Australian blood in him, and represented a couple of games for the Wallabies, and now trying to crack the All Blacks. And he's doing a very good job making a push this season, even though the Highlanders weren't that great. Okay, I think I just need to start picking. There's like so many holes that I know where players are going, so I'm just going to start taking them because I don't think it's going to change or affect anything because I feel like we're in that position where we've got separate things to look at. So I'm going to take number 13, RICHIE and I, probably the best centre this year. I know he's pulled up with a bit of a hamstring injury, but yeah, he played on the weekend and looked good again. So RICHIE and I.
Very nice.
First Blues pick. It's taking me all this time, but I've got a Blues pick on the board.
So
Reece Hodges out there.
Yeah, I was looking at him. I was looking at him as a as a utility back just to pick someone from the Rebels. But in fact, what I think I'm going to actually do is take Tom Banks from the Brumbies as my fullback.
Oh, that's a very good pick.
Yeah, he plays well at the Super Rugby level.
He does. And he's just signed a $1.4 million a year deal to Japan, which I'm like,
yeah,
God, that's a money maker for him. So good pick. Been good again this year. Been very good for the Brumbies the past 2-3 years, and he's done it again. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to go number 3. Get this off the board. Tuia Fasina is my number 3. Was always going to be my number 3.
You can put that into the spreadsheet. I can't type that. I can't. You can put that in the spreadsheet.
Just put offer in there, and I'll know. Oh no, OFA. He was always my number 3 as soon as you picked both the Blues. So he just sat there waiting to be selected, and now is the position. Now I have such a predicament, and I'll let you know when I get there. But I think I've got 2 more picks before I hit that predicament. So yeah.
All right. Have you picked both your Rebels?
I have got Matt Phillip and Brad Wilkin.
Okay, cool. So I've got a Chief, a Crusader, a Waratah, and a Rebels player left to pick. Have you picked both your Chiefs?
No, I haven't. But both but different positions now, so it doesn't actually affect. So I can't pick a Chief in the same position as you. I could.
All right. Well, I'm picking.
Sam
I'm
Cane.
picking Sam Cane. Yeah.
So I could.
I'm picking Sam Cane.
Yeah, that's not the direction I was heading. Good pick.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm taking Sam Cane.
Sam Cane. Yes, nice. Yes, no. So I'm going to go number 23. I think it is Manasseh Mateale from the Western Force, the winger. Just to round out, if I take off a Fijian winger, I can put on a Fijian winger. He had played for the Crusaders and now over at the Force. So that rounds out my Force selection. Manasseh Mateale.
All right. Yeah, so look, okay, I'm just going to get my Rebels pick out of the way here. I am picking Reece Hodge in that utility spot. Just need to get a Rebels off the board, basically.
Nice. Okay, so I have my number 7. I'll get this out of the way and then I'll get into my predicament. Number 7 is going to be Fraser McWright. No doubt. Need another Reds player.
I thought so.
And there's no as good as a hooker, and you've taken Tate McDermott as the reserve, as the number 9, so I can't take him. So it's either going to be McWright or a hooker, and they've had hooker injuries would have kind of cost them, unfortunately. Yeah. So that is the direction I'm heading in.
I am going to, I'm just going to pick my coach now, Darren Coleman.
Nice. So you're left with 2 Crusaders. So what I'm left with, you've left with 2 Crusaders at 12 and 6, so I'm assuming it's going to be David Havili and Ethan Blackadder. Just to ruin your surprise.
I wonder.
But I'm left with 3 picks. I'm left with a Waratah, a Hurricane, and a Chief. Sounds like the start of a joke. I know, obviously, 2 hookers and a number 9. So my predicament is I either go TJ Perenara or Brad Weber, or I go Samisoni Tukihau and Dan Coles. So there's like the predicament I'm in. I take one or the other. I know my other hooker is going to be Dave Pariki from the Waratahs. So I'm just looking and I'm thinking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take Dave Pariki as my starting hooker at number 2 and get him to start. Get him in. Him and Angus Bell have scrummed down a lot this season, so I'll get that cohesion going as a squad and go Dave Pariki at hooker.
Okay. All right. Well, you've already given my picks away, so I guess I'll pick Ethan Black out of here.
Great pick, mate. Okay, so
didn't see that one coming.
Now I've got a decision to make. It's either Weber or TJ Perenara, and then either Colsey or Takahihau. It's tough. This is a tough position, man. I'm going to go TJ Perenara at number 9 and slot him in there, and I'll end up with Takahihau in the 16 jersey. So you'll end up with what, Javi?
David Havili at number 12.
Alrighty, so I've got Takahihau. So do you want to, let's run through your team, I'll run through my team.
Okay, so my team, Yeah, my team is at number 1, Joe APIKOTOA, Falau Fainga at hooker, Taniela Tupou at 3, Isaac Rodder at Brody Retallick. In lock positions, Ethan Blackadder, Sam Kane, and Artie Sevilla as the back row. Deadly there. Tate McDermott and Bowden Barrett as the 9 and 10. That's deadly. Caleb Clarke and Andrew Kellaway the wings, with Havili and Parisi as the centres. Tom Banks the fullback. Tavita Ikanaveri, Jermaine Ainsley, Greg Holmes, James Blackwell, nicest man in rugby, Joseva Tamani, Reece Hodge, William Havili, and Aaron Smith make up the bench, with Darren Coleman as the coach.
Start off, I've got Angus Belt 1, Dave Pariki at 2, Ofa Tungiafasi at 3, Fergus Lee Warner at 4, Tupavai at 5, back row of Brad Wilkin, Fraser McWright, and Harry Wilson. Then the 9-10 combo of All Blacks, TJ Perenara and Richie Moanga. On the wing, we've got Habosi, the flying Fijian. Then at the other wing, we've got Tavata Wanawai, which is the beastly Fijian. So we've got the flying and the beastly Fijian. Centred combo of Jordie Barrett and Ricky Ioane. And then Will Jordan, best player in rugby, out the back. Then Takahiau in 16, De Groot 17, Alan Aliatoa 18, Matt Phillip 19, Mali Daralingi at 20, 21 Falau Fakatava, 22 Lea Lafano, and Manasseh Ali at 23 to finish it off. Yep.
Wow, that was fix it up in the spreadsheet.
And then Darren Coleman, Dan McKellar. Dan McKellar.
Yeah, whoa, don't take my coach.
You try to take even degree, I'll try and take. Dan Coleman's the assistant coach to Dan McKellar in my team. So, yes, look out for it. Follow us on Instagram as I'll put a vote up. I convincingly won the All Blacks versus the Australian fantasy drafts by, I think it was 68
bias.
To 32 in the end, percent voted. So quite a convincing win. But I think this one might be a bit tighter. I look at your team and there's a lot of fire. That back row has me scared. So it will be interesting to see who you guys think picked the best fantasy draft team for Super Rugby. Definitely. Alrighty, I think we'll put it to a vote and see what the people think. Other than that, thank you for joining us today. Thank you. Leave your comments in the comment section of who also you thought made the better picks, the better selections, who had a shocking selection, who was the worst selection you've seen there. Yeah. It's the other way around on the screen. So you actually look like you're
okay. Well, on my screen, there we go. Whichever way Luke is.
Alrighty. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see us again tomorrow as we record the podcast. But for now, goodbye.
Peace.